Seoul, May 25, 2025. Talented actress and writer Moon Jae-young is back to steal the public's attention. This time not through the screen, but through the words she poured in her latest book titled Pata. In an exclusive interview held yesterday, Moon Jae-young answered various questions about the creative process and the meaning behind the prose writings in the book. One interesting moment occurred when a reporter asked about the inspiration behind the emotional prose in Pata. With a calm smile but eyes that seemed to store depth, Moon Jae-young revealed that much of the writing in her book was born from her personal experiences. Every word in Pata is a reflection of the feelings that I once experienced. I hope someone who has been present at my feelings reads it and maybe smiles a little, Moon Jae-young said, making the atmosphere of the interview suddenly quiet, full of meaning. This statement immediately drew various reactions from fans and readers, many of whom were touched and increasingly curious about the story behind each prose verse he wrote. Pata itself is now one of the best-selling books in South Korea, blending poetry, prose, and pieces of reflection on love, loss, and self-acceptance. Her poetic yet honest writing style is touted as another form of Moon Jae-young's acting art, this time through letters, not scenes. With such a warm response from the public, not a few hope that Moon Jae-young will continue to write and maybe, one day, read her work on the literary stage. Interestingly, in the interview session, Moon Jae-young also revealed how the process of writing became a form of personal healing. He calls writing a safe space where he can be honest without having to wear a mask, like when acting. Writing makes me peaceful. I don't write to be recognized, but to re-recognize myself, Jae-young said in a quiet but firm voice. Pata's book, whose title comes from a word in a foreign language meaning to fall or to collapse, contains a collection of poems and prose that describe the emotional journey of a person trying to rise after being immersed in memories. Some passages even use symbolic language and touching metaphors, as if describing an unfinished conversation with someone from the past. Many readers have speculated about the inspiration behind the emotional quotes in the book, but Jae-young chose to leave the meaning open. I don't want to explain every word, because when someone reads, I want them to feel it's about them, she said. With the release of Pata, Moon Jae-young has not only demonstrated her skill in acting, but also her remarkable ability to string words together. The book is now a symbol that every celebrity has a deeply human side, one that loves, loses, and writes to remember. Not stopping there, Moon Jae-young also revealed that he had written some parts of Pata years ago, but only dared to share them now. He admitted it takes time to be able to let go of memories written in the form of words. There are sentences I write at night when I feel most alone, and I think, I'm going to keep it just for me. But as I reread it, I realized, maybe there's someone out there who needs to read this too, she said, with a small smile. Jae-young's sincerity and courage in opening himself through writing has won praise from fellow artists to literary connoisseurs. In fact, some Korean literary figures have called Pata a touching and authentic literary debut, something rarely found from celebrities venturing into the world of authorship. Now, Moon Jae-young is preparing for a book discussion tour in several major cities in Korea, and will reportedly release a translated version of Pata in English and Japanese in the near future. Pata is not just a book. It is a window into the heart of a Moon Jae-young, and perhaps also into the heart of the reader himself. Not a few fans felt connected to Moon Jae-young's words. Social media is filled with favorite quotes from Pata, many of which reveal how the book has been a solace, as if understanding a sense they find difficult to pronounce on their own. One of the quotes that is now viral on platform X and Instagram is, I'm not waiting for you to come back. I just don't know how to walk without looking. Pata, Moon Jae-young. This book is not only about the loss of love, but also about how we come to terms with the version of ourselves that once loved so deeply. With Pata, Moon Jae-young proves that a sincere inner voice can touch much deeper than a loud voice. He has written not to be heard, but to be felt, and that is what makes her book so meaningful. In closing the interview, Jae-young looked out the window and said quietly, almost like talking to the wind, if he's reading this, may he know I'm never angry. I miss people who don't know where to go home. From the moment of the interview, bookstores saw an increase in demand for Pata, and the reading community began holding online discussions to dissect the meaning behind each sentence written by Moon Jae-young. Not a few also sent personal messages through social media, saying thank you for feeling accompanied in silence by her writings. One reader wrote, I do not know who made him write these lines, but I am grateful because I feel as if they were written for me. Pata's success is not only in the number of copies sold, but in the care with which it is touched. In a world full of noise, Moon Jae-young chose to speak through the silence of words. and it was precisely there that her voice sounded the clearest. With this, Moon Jae-young not only strengthens her position as a talented actress, but also as a writer who is able to write down wounds in a beautiful way and let readers heal them slowly. Together Now, Pata is not only called a book, but a journey for writers and readers. A collection of feelings that wrap loss, hope, and longing in a calm word, but never empty. Moon Jae-young himself does not explicitly mention anyone by name in her books or interviews. However, many suspect that each stanza is an unsent letter to a person who was once the center of her universe. When asked if that person knew this book about him, Jae-young only answered softly, "I do not know. But I believe if someone ever truly lives in your heart, they will feel it when you write it." For many, Pata is not just the story of Moon Jae-young, but the story of anyone who has ever waited in silence, loved in silence, and let go in silence. Moon Jae-young's Pata book becomes a symbol of silence that speaks as public attention to Pata's book widens. Moon Jae-young's work continues to show the power of words in conveying feelings that cannot be expressed directly. In a follow-up interview after the release, the actress revealed more about the hidden meaning behind the pages of her work. According to Jae-young, Pata is not just a collection of poetry and prose, but a mirror of inner spaces that were once full, then empty, and finally accepting. Some of my writings I have kept for years. I write it in the most silent moments of my life. I never intended to publish it. Time has changed my mind, he said. When asked if he expected the person who was the main inspiration to read the book, Jae-young just stared blankly for a few seconds before answering, "Even if he reads it, I just want him to know. I'm never angry. Only the homesick do not know where to go home." Responses from readers keep coming. On social media, the quotes from Pata began to be widely shared with the hashtags #PATAbook and #MoonJae-young quotes. Many claim to find a reflection of their own personal stories in each verse. Book tour and translation expansion. Moon Jae-young is scheduled to go on a book discussion tour in Seoul, Busan, and Daegu starting in early June. Pata will be translated into English, Japanese, and Mandarin in the near future, following the growing interest of international readers. With Pata's presence, Moon Jae-young not only shows her emotional maturity as a writer, but also proves that writing that comes from the honesty of the heart will always find a place in the hearts of her readers. Literary and media industry response. Pata's release also attracted attention from writers and literary critics. Some have called this work a marker of the beginning of a new round of emotional literacy among South Korean public figures. Moon Jae-young is considered successful in combining acting and authorship, bringing a personal feel without being trapped in excessive drama. One critic of the Seoul Literature Journal wrote, "Moon Jae-young is not trying to be a poet. He writes as a human being. And that's exactly where the power is." The publisher stated that within 2 weeks of its release, Pata had sold over 50,000 copies, a very high figure for the contemporary prose category. Guarded privacy and flavor. Although many speculated about the figure who inspired the contents of the book, Moon Jae-young chose not to reveal the identity or provide further clues. He asserts that the purpose of writing Pata is not to uncover but to heal. Some stories are not meant to be explained. They just need to be written down, he said briefly. The calmness and maturity in Jae-young's way of dealing with personal questions made the public appreciate the work even more as a form of art, not gossip.